or different versions of role play and all that, let's talk about actually the character creation side of video games
Yeah.
compared to other things. Like when you make a tabletop game and when you're role playing as a tabletop thing, unless you have like a minifig or commission an artist or are an artist yourself to draw exactly what your character looks like, I feel like it is very hard, and everyone will have a different perspective of what your character looks like. Even when you were to read a book that you pick up for the first time, everyone will have a different perspective of what your character looks like. Because you can say, my character has black hair, dresses in black, has a black trench coat, dual wield swords, and is Japanese. I just described Kirito. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like with that concept, without a picture of it, I can imagine like 80 different characters.
Yeah, I think
They all are vaguely the same,
yeah.
but until you have the exact thing you can see, it is different. And I feel like video games do this differently because you can custom sculpt your character in the game, or in the case of Gary's mod, it worked so well where you didn't even need to do that. You can just, you're a clone for
Yeah,
Gary's
I was
mod of
gonna
Star
say it's an
Wars,
interesting
right?
perspective in Gmod because there is no character customization because you all like it's important to the story that you all look the same
Mm-hmm.
with minor exceptions.
And that's why that worked so well. I think in
Yeah,
S&D box, you, if you wanted to, can like make the character creator. It's not going to be something that you can do like right off
yeah.
the bat, and it's going to
Character
take a
creators are
bit.
shockingly difficult to make.
But at the same time, there was the same fucking thing in Gmod already. There's a character creator in Gmod. It's just not intuitive.
Yeah, but it's
Like, let's
not
be real.
very
Pack
yeah.
3 is not intuitive, right?
Yes, and it's more than not intuitive. It is extremely limited in a lot of ways.
Sandbox
Um,
will be able, you'll be able to develop, because they want to be able to make it so you can just develop any type of game in Sandbox. They want to
yeah,
make a literal engine. So you'll have a character creator eventually. And I think
yeah,
that'll
I'm
be
sure.
great for role play.
I
But
agree.
like just the whole concept of being a character and see what your character is. And even in Star Wars RP, in the things we were doing, your character's updated based on what you're doing. Even at the lowest level, where going through the ranks, you gain like, I don't know, well, I don't remember all the exact terms, like a comma.
Yeah,
What are the
comma and the
things
pauldron
on
are the big ones.
cauldron, whatever? And then there's like a few other things you can put on, like binoculars and all that. Or maybe you have like your communities, if you want a good community, has to have a custom modeler. So you pay for a custom model that's going to be like $40. And like your character can be developed, right? It's not
Yeah.
something you're going to have because it's important to the story that everyone looks the same, but it is still able to be unique enough that anyone can do anything,
Yeah,
right?
and this is kind of where I think we have a bit of a different perspective because
Hmm.
so I've done the Roblox stuff, and obviously Roblox is very visually
Roblox
limited.
has
Um,
visual limitations, but
but
even then it has a pretty
it has a
big
lot of
custom scene.
options for character customization,
Yeah, look
but
at the Avatar
nothing
store. Jeez.
yeah, but nothing that is detailed is the
That
thing.
is
Like,
fair.
the only thing that you can get any amount of detail in is the hair, and that's kinda what I think is interesting about it. Because like, I think that you have the perspective and correct me if I'm
I
wrong,
don't know
you
how
have the
long you've
perspective
spent in the character or in the Avatar shop. I'm gonna be real with
I
you.
no, I know there's a lot, but in the stuff that I've specifically interacted with, the only things you can customize are your hair, your face, like the texture on your face,
Hmm.
your like shirt and pants, but there's limitations on what you can customize, and that's it. I know there's a lot more in the Avatar store, but I'm specifically talking about like in the roleplay community that I was in.
Mm.
I think we have a different perspective here though, because
So
I think that you generally prefer the exactness of like this is exactly what it is, and I think that I kind of prefer having a
the
level
bit of
of wiggle
vagueness.
room. Yeah,
Yeah,
a little
you
bit of
want a
vagueness.
bit of wiggle room. Now, I like the exactness a lot because it helps, especially as a game master and someone who's trying to build a story. It helps a lot when I'm trying to define this is who I am. This is
Yeah,
what I want you to believe I am, especially for a character I spent 4 months developing or a storyline that I've spent a long, long time making. I prefer the exactness of this is what it is. Like you
yeah,
don't really have the concept of what it is.
I,
And on Roblox side of things, I get what you mean, whether it's your shirt, your pants, your face, and your hair. My concept of it is not really that. Because what ends up happening, and from what I've seen in my years on Roblox, because I've played Roblox for forever, not
yeah,
the roleplay side of things, but the way people do Roblox now and the way they've always done it is because it's a child audience and parents aren't going to give their child $80 to go spend on internet cosmetics for some clout, right?
hmm
So it's harder to do that when in Gary's mod, you can get all that for free because that's just the
yeah,
thing
yeah,
Gary's mod is. On Roblox, there's incredibly detailed things that you can get and make your character in the accessories, and it is for every part of your body. For whether you want custom legs, arms, dynamic height, like a hyper realistic face, a giant popcat head, whatever. Or maybe you want like a full chest plate of armor. Like you can do all of that using Roblox and using accessories and like messing around with it. But it is not intuitive in any way. And so
yeah,
what people normally do is they'll cut out a lot of that stuff. And then in the games you join, they will give you a custom model. They'll cut out as much as they can, give you a custom model so everyone looks vaguely the same, have slightly very, very cheap, unique things. That's where like hair and faces and like t-shirts and pants come in because those like the highest I've seen that isn't just a full scam that people made as a joke is like maybe 20, 50 Robux minus the hair. The hair can get really expensive. Same with some of the really fancy faces, but we're not
yeah.
talking
I
about
think
those.
the faces are like a whole like collector's thing, and the hair is because they're actually like custom modeling shit, which is has more
Yeah.
value, I think.
And it no, even that hair for custom models in Robux, like the most expensive custom model that you're reasonably buying is 200 Robux. That's the way the
Yeah,
community has defined it. Most
yeah,
things are
basically.
like 50 to 100.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not expensive.
No, it's like a
You could
dollar.
basically make whatever you want within reason for just the basic bare minimum $5 purchase of
Yeah,
like a Robux. So I think the thing is though, the reason that you have that perspective, that you prefer that exactness, is that you have the ability to be an exact person.
that is
I
fair.
am bad at that. When I'm making a character, I have a very hard time envisioning what I want that character to be before I start playing the character.
This is
So that's
something
kind
that
of
I
why I
kind of
like
wanted
that wiggle
to.
room. I like being
Yeah,
able to grow into the kind of blank mesh that my character is at the start and then have it all be super defined by the end, but because how to put it, because I
yeah.
have that wiggle room, it's not like I'm retconning things or I'm changing things. There was just no details there, and now there are details there, at least in like the canon.
Yeah, this is something that I kind of have actually done and want to do a lot more in the near future. And I think I've mentioned this on Twitter a few times and I've had it, I might have mentioned it to you before, but I think I did actually. I really want to get into like fully making my own custom world. Like I'm making my own story. And even
Yeah.
beyond that, like making things for other people and making all that. Because my experience as a game master is making things that are really, really exact and having this big backstory and are very interesting and engaging characters, but also at the same time able to be molded into whatever they want. It's to the point where I am going to make a application using Java FX that's going to be like very basic, but it's just going to be basically a textbook randomizer for different adjectives, for personality traits, like a name generator, and some other like few specific things where I can then take that and either give it to a person who wants to play that who can't think of a name and some like very basic personality traits. And I had this idea while I was playing Zomboid, actually, funny enough. Because it's hard. Zomboid does this to you where you have to pick out good and bad traits if you want a good character on Zomboid.
Yeah.
So, and that's a thing that inspired me to make this. Because when you play a character, normally when you're thinking about designing the character, if you
You're
don't
thinking
have a
about the
big
good stuff.
backstory of it, you want to make God, you want to make Saitama, you want to make fucking I am Mr. Good Guy with no flaws. But that doesn't make for a fun character to play. It makes for a
Yeah.
fun character to design and to escape reality with. But if you want to sit down there, play a character, and have any emotional stake in them, they need to have their character flaws. This is the
Yeah.
same in anime. This is the same in games. This is the same
The same
everywhere.
in everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I say that I want to do this, it's because it's a thing of passion and I find it just fun to do. But like, and this goes hand in hand not only with like character creation, but like the same way you look. And like, because when you have a scar, it can be this entire backstory of how did you get this scar? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, I love making the big backstories and stuff, but I hate playing characters that have the big backstories because I want to play a character that's going to be changing as I make it. I'll make the bare minimum for my character if I'm going to actually play as this character, and I'm going to let the experiences that I live with shape the way the character goes forward. I'm going to make their childhood and then make the character like, if it's a character I'm playing, I'm going to make the character like at max like early 20s, like maybe 19 to 23 age range, because then you're still young enough that no matter what happens, it'll define your character. But you can also have a background where I was born in poverty, I escaped this planet, I moved on through here, I got this scar while I was running away from like my household, or I met this character who drove me to be the pirate king and I stabbed myself under the eye. I just described Luffy. Um
Goofy,
like Goofy, One Piece. The One Piece is real. Like, end of the day, making a character is one of the most fun things about RP and role playing to me, because
Yeah.
you can just do so much and it's so unique doing all
Yeah.
that.
And I completely get that. For me though, it's developing a character through the role play. Like what
Mm,
makes sense over the course of the role play? Because I generally tend to start like, especially when I join new things and I don't have like much of an idea of what is happening in the community. I start by just playing as myself and then mold that into a character that is not myself.
That's how I got into Gmod. And that's how all of my clones have always been. That's where CT9981 Craig comes from. Craig is an entire backstory. Like, the name Craig makes no sense in the connotation of Star Wars nicknames, but it's because the nickname
I mean, it kind of
has
does.
real life significance.
The main hero's name is Luke. Like that's just a
Yeah,
generic
but
guy's
clone
name.
nicknames is what I
Okay,
mean.
okay, okay, that's fair.
Like, a clone nickname
Cody,
named Clegg.
Cody.
Yeah, but like, even then, it was because like I don't remember Cody's exact background for the name, but I think it was like the commander, or I think it was Obi-Wan was Cody's commander, was like, hey, I want to actually call you by someone's name, right? When you have
Yeah.
fucking Gree and like the 41st things, like Gree got his nickname because he was obsessed with aliens and like rare specific types of
Commander
aliens.
Doom.
Fucking Cooker, who got his nickname because he was such a good sniper that he would snipe the like fuel cells in droids and burn them alive, cooking them. Like,
Yeah.
those are the types of nicknames the clones had because they meant something about what they did. Fucking Craig was just something that I came up with because some old lady in real life called me that. Like,
Yeah, but I love that we ended up coming up with an actual like backstory for why you were called Craig too.
yeah, and that comes from even before that, like the actual experiences I have had playing this Craig character over the years of my time on Gmod, where I went very, very in depth on Jawa lore. Like, I think I'm the most knowledgeable about Jawas out of anyone I know. I literally have a script on my computer. I made it fucking live. I finished this script where I went through the entire Legends page for Jawa lore, rewrote the entire thing, and I'm going to make a video that is coming soon about fucking all about Jawa lore and everything you would ever need to know about a fucking Jawa. And I committed war crimes to them and was sent to like rehab, and I needed to be given a normal name so people didn't know what I did, and like it was very classified and shit. Like, that was the background for Craig and the nickname Craig, because Craig is a normal sounding name. Like, that's the interesting thing with that. Like, when you play a character on multiplayer, you start off as a blank sheet and eventually you get your character, right?
Yeah.
That is what makes it so fun.